Joe Biden's been an extremely successful president. I will say, though, when you're told by members of Congress that they're losing, they're going to lose the House and the Senate if he stays on the ticket, when you're told by members of Congress who have seen the polls that you're losing swing states and that your numbers are going down in swing states, and states like Virginia, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Minnesota are now in play. And when your top fundraiser over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years is telling you the money's gone, the donors have all gone away, you know, it's really incumbent on people that are around Joe Biden to step up at this point and help the president and help the man they love and do the right thing. This is not going to end well if it continues to drag out. Look at the events of yesterday, the events of the last 3 weeks. And at some point, you know, I can tell you, Mike, the anger that I hear is not at Joe Biden. The anger I hear are the people that are keeping him in a bubble.
Or who have their own interests.
Or who may have their own interests, some financial, in keeping him in the race. That is the real anger. And let me tell you, that's not just the anger from inside Congress. That is anger from inside his own political camp. And it is widespread.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It seems as if the Biden administration is at the beginning of the end, okay? And I say that as somebody who was very skeptical just a couple weeks ago about whether or not Joe Biden would drop out. But now it seems as if it is inevitable. It's not about if, it's about when and how Biden will drop out, because all of the Democrat Party elites have come out and basically told Joe Biden, hey, your time is up. It's time for you to step down. Let somebody else carry the torch. You can't beat Trump.
Former President Barack Obama has told allies in recent days that President Biden's path to victory has greatly diminished, and he thinks the president needs to seriously consider the viability of his candidacy. And here's the sourcing. Multiple people briefed on his thinking. This does not show up by accident, Emily. He has greenlighted, in my opinion, as someone who's worked in press, his aides to share this with the Washington Post.
Which is a crucial sea change, Kaylee. And actually before, Marie, when you were talking about it, in my head I was like, no, he doesn't need to come out and say it, because he did it non-verbally. When he guided the president off the stage, he showed the world the president's frailty. He showed the world that Barack Obama was still the elder of the party. Although, Marie, that made me feel like I'm an ancient. But at the end of the day, we are now seeing the materialization of the apparitions, right? Because
okay, you can't beat Trump. Allegedly, Barack Obama has came out and said this. Nancy Pelosi has said it. Chuck Schumer has said it. Hakeem Jeffries has said it. Now, again, they haven't necessarily said it publicly. Okay, but apparently behind closed doors, this is what they have been saying, and they have been purposely leaking what they've been saying behind closed doors to add public pressure to Joe Biden dropping out, okay? And it seems as if it is possible, it's more likely than not now that Joe Biden can drop out as early as this weekend. This is what the mainstream liberal media is saying. And I want to talk about it, but before we get into it, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, Noble Gold. Are you worried about the future of the U.S. economy? With so much uncertainty in the air, it is natural to fret about the security of your retirement savings. However, there's one asset that stands the test of time, and that is gold. For centuries, gold has been a hedge against market volatility and economic instability. With a gold IRA from Noble Gold Investments, you can harness the power of precious metals in order to secure your financial future. By rolling over your existing IRA or 401k into a self-directed gold IRA, you can enjoy the potential for long-term growth and stability. Diversify your portfolio with a tangible asset that has real value. Setting up a gold IRA with Noble Gold Investments has never been easier with its streamlined process and expert guidance. This election year, do not let the volatility and uncertainty keep you up at night. Vote for the timeless safety of gold and silver in 2024. And Noble Gold Investments will give you up to 10 1-ounce silver Trump coins or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar if you open a qualified account. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com now. That is noblegoldinvestments.com. And just remember, there's a risk with every investment and there's no guarantee of any kind.
This drip, drip, drip of lawmakers coming out and asking the president to step aside. Now, leaks about leadership conversations last night. Can we expect more of this? What are you hearing?
What it really feels like, Jose, is that the drips and leaks might be the thing to finally break the dam, that this is not going to be some kind of massive watershed moment publicly, but instead that it might come through blind reports that we're seeing overnight about conversations that the president had with top members of Congress. And look, based on the statements that we've gotten from both Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries' office as recently as this morning in the last few hours, what's clear is that those offices are not shying away from saying that their bosses relayed concerns to the president. In the case of Chuck Schumer, it's that it was a blunt, private conversation. In the case of Hakeem Jeffries, we knew, and then he went in a dear colleague letter to his colleagues here to say that he was relaying the concerns that we have heard from Democrats and that he has heard from Democrats. Hakeem Jeffries has really run this caucus up here on the Hill since his time being atop it as someone who really does embark on listening tours of his members. He himself doesn't weigh in, but he gives his members the space to vent their concerns. In this case, it's been a lot of venting of frustrations, of panic, both about the drag that Biden could have on their own reelection efforts, but also out of concern because all of these Democratic members know the stakes in needing to defeat former President Trump. Many of them say that one of their biggest concerns in the aftermath of the debate was not just that Biden couldn't do the job, but that he couldn't carry the message, and that the message is one of just such stark contrast, whether it's on something like Project 2025 or abortion or basic transitions of democracy, peaceful transfers of power, talking about January 6th. Democrats want the focus to be there, and instead you have seen this continued circular firing squad.
Yeah, so you've seen that, you heard that. Okay, so Democrats are basically saying that, hey, we think that Joe Biden is going to drop out in a matter of days. Now, again, I'm not sure if this is true or not. I have no clue. Joe Biden, publicly at least, has said he's not dropping out. He's not going anywhere, but he did catch COVID. And he also did say that he would drop out if he had some type of medical condition. Okay, so who knows? Maybe Joe Biden could go through some tough battle with COVID and then upon reflection say, hey, because of my tough battle, I don't think that, I am in a position where I can lead the country considering my health, and I have to look out for my health, and this is a decision I made with my family, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe that could be the way out. I'm not entirely sure, okay? But it seems imminent that Joe Biden is going to drop out, and some people in the mainstream liberal media are not happy with the Democrats pressuring Joe Biden behind closed doors to drop out, and that is the cackling hens. Them, along with Joe Scarborough, as you guys saw at the beginning of this video, they're coping with the reality that their Lord and Savior, Joe Biden, is closer to the end than they would like to believe.
It's so depressing, the whole thing. I think that he's going to drop out now. That's my feeling. I mean, I don't have any information, but when Pelosi gets into this, and Schumer and Schiff and Jeffries, and they all say it's time to go. The COVID in a way is like a good way for him to get out because he needs this time to show how strong he is, and he's sick, and the time is very, very short now. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I wouldn't put it past them to just say, look, Joe, we can't, but Nancy Pelosi, she would not bring a vote to the floor unless she knew it was going to get passed. Yeah. This is not a woman who plays games. And she doesn't feel that he can win, I don't think. So, when I saw her at the Democratic convention right before Trump beat Hillary, I said to her, what if he wins? And she said he's not going to win. I think she's learned her lesson, that she said he wasn't going to win, and then he did. So, you know, she's very cautious now. And we have to save the country somehow.
I think that's the reporting is coming out that behind the scenes, someone like a Hakeem Jeffries and Senator Schumer have spoken to the president and have explained to him that he has a great legacy to stand on. He's done a lot of wonderful things for the country, but it's time for him to pass the baton, much like Nancy Pelosi passed the baton to Hakeem Jeffries. I will say this, it's his decision to make. It seems to me that these behind the scenes meetings that should be private are being leaked intentionally to sort of force his hand. I think that's disrespectful to the president. I think it's disrespectful to the office. Even if he doesn't drop out, I think we have to understand that there's a binary choice. There is a threat, an existential threat to democracy on one side and Joe Biden on the other. Right. So he still has my vote because he has Vice President Harris right next to him, who is ready to step into the role of president.
Yeah, so too bad nobody believes that, right? Including the Democrat Party, which is that Kamala Harris is ready to be president, because if she was, this wouldn't be a thing, okay? But because it is a thing, that tells you everything you need to know about Kamala Harris and the fact that, again, some Democrats would probably rather stick with Joe Biden than to go with Kamala. But again, it seems as if Joe Biden dropping out, it looks like it's going to happen, okay? They're saying that there are cracks in the dam, and who knows? He could make some announcement by this weekend. I really don't know, okay? But what I do know is that there are polls that are not doing Joe Biden any favors, okay? It looks as if the election was held today, then Trump would win in a landslide. And again, that's probably one of the main reasons why Democrats are trying to get rid of him right now.
Could even say he's ahead in a commanding way that is growing. This is the current CNN projection. And watch when I go through it, because this will change in the coming days. Already we have the data to change this. Right now, if Donald Trump just won, deep red, solid Republican. Light red, lean Republican. If he just won the states on this map that we have as either solid or leaning Republican, he's already the next president of the United States. 272 electoral votes. But the data in recent days, we know Trump is now ahead. Let me turn this off here. Trump is now ahead in Pennsylvania. Trump is now ahead in Wisconsin. Trump is ahead in this Nebraska congressional district. Trump is ahead out here in Arizona. Let's turn all that. That's 313 electoral votes right there. And there is data that shows that some other states that maybe he's only ahead a little bit, or it's margin of error, or it's tied, but they're traditional blue states. States like Virginia. Trump is now at least in play there, Dana. And then you come up to New Hampshire. Trump is in play there. There are Republicans talking about maybe Minnesota. There are Democrats worried about Colorado and New Mexico. Look at this map right here. Potentially 330 electoral votes. Does that mean Donald Trump's going to get 330 electoral votes? Of course not. Do the blue states tend to come home late in the campaign? They tend to. But the president is so weak. Let's just show a little bit of reasons of why Democrats are so worried about this. This data is several days old. I have seen data in recent days, private data, that is even worse than this. But this is public data. This is the incumbent president of the United States. His ballot share in Arizona, 37%. 40 in Georgia, 38 in Wisconsin, 40 in Michigan, 40 in Pennsylvania, 40 in North Carolina, 42, his best state, Nevada, 42. Correlates almost exactly, within a point or two, to his approval rating right there. Dana, the president is in trouble, and when Donald Trump takes that stage tonight, this is his race. He's in the driver's seat.
So go back, just use Minnesota as an example. I've talked to Democrats there who are very worried about that. Jeff Zeleny likes to call that the reddest blue state. I talked to a donor, a lawmaker who is in touch with a lot of big donors this morning, who said that they're done. They're not going to give any more to Joe Biden's campaign. That matters when you have to be playing on territory that you weren't planning on playing before.
Right. So this is the 2020 map. Imagine the 2016 map. Donald Trump's winning the blue wall states here. And in 2016, look at Minnesota in 2016. We have third-party candidates this time. Again, you have the President of the United States approval rating is down. And you see how close it was, right? Donald Trump was close. This is where J.D. Vance, again, vice presidential candidates tend not to make a huge difference, but can they make a little difference? J.D. Vance, Donald Trump campaigning in a state like this. This is just one of them here. It was very close. And again, in 2020, third-party candidates didn't matter. Donald Trump can get to 45. He can get to 46. If Joe Biden is in the high 30s or low 40s. It's not just Minnesota. That's why they're worried in Colorado. They're worried in New Mexico. They're worried in New Hampshire. They're worried in Virginia. Can Joe Biden change it? Sure. But that's why you have consistent pressure, Dana, on him to please get out, Mr. President. Give us a chance with somebody else.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah. So the way that things are going, it looks like we're looking at a Reagan-esque 1984 landslide victory for Trump, right? I mean, it could go in that direction if Democrats continue to let Joe Biden be the nominee. And again, this is why I'm getting the territory now where I'm like, all right, it's more likely than not that Biden's going to step down because the genie's out of the bottle, right? Once you have Obama, Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Pelosi, like the elites in the Democrat Party coming out and saying, hey, you got to step down. And also the donors are also saying that we're not going to give money to you anymore. Like at that point, they're essentially kneecapping you from winning, right? They're saying that, listen, even if you stay in the race, you're not going to win because we've already basically stated that we don't have confidence in you, right? So again, this is why I'm at the point I'm like, yeah, Biden's kind of going to have to step down. Like he can't win by default now because Democrats have already acknowledged and said the quiet part out loud that he shouldn't be in office, okay? Not only that he shouldn't be running, but he shouldn't be in office because if you don't think that Joe Biden should run, then you don't think that he should be in office right now. And that's devastating. That's not something you can come back from. You may be able to come back from a few Democrats at the lower end, right, that are not very powerful saying, you know, whatever. Okay, you have Republicans that come out and say stuff about Trump. No big deal. You can recover from that. Doesn't really matter, again, if you're a strong candidate. But because Biden's so weak, as admitted to by CNN, he can't come back from Obama, Pelosi, Schumer, all of them essentially coming out and saying that, yeah, you should step down. And they're leaking it on purpose. They're leaking it because they want the public to know that, yeah, we don't have confidence in Joe Biden. And that's not something where you could just turn around and say, oh, well, we don't have confidence in Joe Biden, but screw him. You need to vote against Orange Man. That's not going to work. That's most certainly not going to work. Now, it might work if the economy was good, if the country was in a good place, if voters were generally satisfied with the Biden administration. Yeah, you could probably work that out. You could probably say, well, who cares if Biden's a vegetable? Nobody cares. We got to keep Trump out of office. That could work if the country was in good shape. But because the country's not in good shape, that's not going to work. Trump derangement is not going to work. So I think at this point, Democrats have essentially kneecapped Biden to the point where they've made it impossible for Biden to win. Now, he's the worst candidate. So I think they're dead set on switching. Again, the only question is, are they going to go with Kamala? Are they going to go with someone else? Again, the good thing is that it's really damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think that there are no good options for Democrats if they go with Kamala. She's not really that much stronger than Joe Biden at this point. She has some of the same issues as Joe Biden. But if they choose to skip over Kamala, then the so-called black bourgeoisie, they will revolt, okay, against the Democrats. But who knows if that is for certain, because these people typically fall in line, and they probably will fall in line behind Trump derangement. So Democrats could call their bluff, right? Democrats could call the bluff of the so-called black bourgeoisie and say, you know what, screw Kamala, we're going to go with somebody else. And we'll see what type of chaos comes out of that. But I know one thing. Get your popcorn ready, guys. The Democrats are about to be very entertaining over the next 30 to 60 days. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.